If you wrote a book about yourself, what would the title be?
Hi, I think it would be My Wonderful Life. I think my first name and my last name, now literal, but yeah.
So if I wrote a book about myself, the title would be Life of a Superstar.
Hi, I think the title of my book will be Dandies. I think the title of my book would be Greatest Trip to Austria.
It would be probably My Unusual Life.
Hi, it would be What Happened in My Life and
My Real Life.
The facts about Praha city, because I'm writing about Praha, a lot of facts. The girl that wanted to be a world champion. Bravery of the little girl.
What was your favorite book when you were a child?
When I was a child, my school had a travelling library that would come to visit every couple of months, and you were able to buy a book once every couple of months, and then the library would turn up in a van in the back of a bus, and then you got to kind of have your copy of your favourite book. And the book that I looked forward to the most was a book called James and the Giant Peach by Roald Dahl, and I looked forward to it for months, and when it arrived I read it in one day, and it was my favourite for a long time.
When I was a child, my favorite story was a Swedish story, Adventures of Karlsson, who lived in Stockholm. I love that story. My grandma used to read that story to me. So,
The Little Prince.
Well, actually, it was what my favorite books were. It was the Lord of the Rings trilogy, and I would add Bilbo Baggins and The Hobbit in on that as well. And I loved it because of the adventure and the magic and the music and the poetry and the relationships between the different characters. So that's why. Yeah.
Great. It was Oliver Twist by Charles Dickens.
Well, when I was very young, my favourite book was a book called The Owl Who's Afraid of the Dark. I can't remember the author, but it was, I used to listen to the story, and then when I was old enough, I used to read the story again and again.
my favorite book was Captain Nemo.
When I was a child, my favorite book was Sherlock Holmes by Arthur Conan Doyle.
About me, it's The Little Prince.
My favorite book would have been a story called Kinsuke's Kingdom by Michael Morpurgo.
A Snow Queen by Anderson.
When I was a child, I was really into ice hockey, so my favorite book that sticks in my mind was called Wingman on Ice. It was about a player who played a forward in a position that's also sometimes called a wingman.
Oh, it's a hard question to answer because when I was a child, I didn't like to read. I only liked to read when I became a grown-up, and I think my favorite book was Harry Potter, and I also like a lot of Ukrainian authors, like Kotsubinski is one of my favorite, and Leslie Greencup.